Our fans, Shane Carlson with you here for Full Throttle Weekly, and it is the best weekend of the year in my opinion. This is Daytona 500 weekend, and tonight being Friday, the truck started off, and then we have a nationwide race tomorrow with the Daytona 500 being on Sunday afternoon. To me, this is just the greatest weekend of the year. Start off the 2014 season in Daytona. It really doesn't get any bigger than this for NASCAR, and it just a ton of great racing all through speed weeks we've seen so far, and I guess they might as well just start calling the Daytona 500 the backup car 500, because we've seen just in practice and even in qualifying today there was people wrecking all over the place. They got a new qualifying format, and it's a knockout qualifying with multiple cars on the track at the same time. So I mean, we got a lot of cars going to the back of the field, and so it'll be interesting because there's a lot of heavy hitters going back there. But really, in the Daytona 500, track position really isn't anything until the end of the race. You just got to try and survive to the end, and then position yourself within the last few laps to make a move on the final lap to get the win. Because most of the time, the winner's not going to be leading the white flag lap. It's going to come, the move to win the race is probably going to come on that last lap there. So watch for that in any of these three races this weekend. But I'll start out previewing the truck race. It's actually set to begin here in about 15 minutes from the time I'm making this video, so I'll try to get through it quick. A lot of young guns in the series this year, so I think experience versus the youth of the new drivers is going to be pretty big. Not a lot of them have experience with drafting at Daytona, and so that's going to play a large role. And also the all three manufacturers, them being Toyota, Ford, and Chevrolet, have introduced new body styles for this year, and it appears that they don't suck up as well in the draft. They can't get quite as close to the truck in front of them. So there's a little bit more air in between trucks in the draft, which plays with the air a little bit, and it kind of bounces the air off the sides of the trucks now, not just the bumper, and not just the front and the rear bumpers. So that'll affect the aerodynamics of the trucks. So, I mean, I think it makes them a little bit more loose in the corners, and especially the tri-oval. We've seen that this weekend so far. So watch that, and I think Ron Hornaday Jr., he's back with Turner Scott Motorsports, new team, or he's with a new team in Turner Scott this year. 51 wins in the truck series, but he hasn't won for 2 years, and I think it's time for Ron to get back to victory lane, and he's going to start it off big tonight with a win in Daytona. I think he's going to win tonight, and so he's my pick to win. For the Nationwide Series, I think it's much of the same story as the trucks. We got a lot of youth coming into the Nationwide Series, as some of the Nationwide guys have moved up to the Cup Series. So I think you got that experience versus the youth, and then you also have guys with new teams, and so just trying to learn the team dynamics. So far, it's really early in the season, obviously, and so I think just getting used to that, and communication is going to be big. And then I think you might see some strategy play out late in the race with fuel and tires. I think Ford tires, you don't absolutely need to have them all the time, especially near the middle third of the race. I think you might see some guys go with just fuel only, and so they don't have to do it in the final third of the race. So because we saw the tires, the life of the tires, they're able to hold on fairly well, and there's not a lot of fall off there. So I think fuel strategy might play a role in the nationwide race. It's going to be 300 miles on Saturday, 150, or I believe it's 150 laps. So watch for that. My pick to win the nationwide race this Saturday is Trevor Bayne. Never won it in the Nationwide Series, but he has won the 2011 Daytona 500, so he does know how to get around the Daytona, and knows his way to victory lane. He's pretty much Ford's biggest threat to win the championship this year. He's their best driver, and I I think this year, 2014 is a big statement year for Trevor. He was all right last year. He got a win in Iowa, but I think he needs to start turning those top 5, top 7 finishes into wins. And I think you might see that. So watch for Trevor Bayne in the 6th to be quick this weekend, and I expect him to be in victory lane, but anything can happen at Daytona. So we'll just have to wait and see there. Sprint Cup Series, a lot of big storylines here. Obviously, if you haven't heard already, the number 3 is coming back. Obviously, that was Dale Earnhardt's number. But Richard Childress, the car owner, has put his grandson, Austin Dillon, in the car, who's won a truck and a nationwide championship driving the 3. And so there's a lot of, for the most part, I think fans are really excited to see the 3 back on the track. I think it's a good thing. It's been 13 years. I compare it to seeing Richard Petty's number out there. His 43 is still out there, so why not the 3? It's going to be an emotional thing, emotional time for a lot of fans. But he's on the pole too, so he's going to be leading the field to the green flag on Sunday. So that'll be really, really cool. I think it'll just be a pretty emotional time for a lot of fans who've been around the sport and understand what the 3 actually means to the sport. It's not just another number, and neither was the 43, and so I think they're pretty comparable, and I think it's just going to be good for the sport. It keeps that history buzzing around the sport, and I hear more people talking about Dale Earnhardt today than I have ever since his passing. So I think it's a really good thing. It keeps people educated on the history of the sport. So yeah, that's probably the biggest storyline coming into this weekend. But as for the racing features of the Daytona 500 this weekend, NASCAR actually raised the rear spoiler of the cars up a half an inch, so they're up to 4.5 inches on the rear spoiler, which creates more drag, which in effect creates more turbulence in the air. So much like the trucks, how I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot more air bouncing between cars, and that upsets the balance a little bit, especially at a high-speed track like Daytona, where drafting is so key, and you have to use the draft to win the race. But watch for that. And the bump drafting thing, we've kind of gotten away from the tandem racing where it's just 2 guys pushing each other. We're back to kind of that big pack mentality where everybody's in the big pack, but you're still able to pass, and I like that. We've seen throughout Speed Week so far both lanes being able to pass, and actually I think the low lane has been the better of the 2 if they can ever keep the low lane working down there. You gotta have a few cars in line to make it work, but the low lane has definitely been the place to make passes so far in Speed Week. So I think that's really positive. I think that bodes for a really, really good Daytona 500 on Sunday. And so I guess my pick to win the Daytona 500, he's finished second there 3 out of the last 4 years. And his crew chief, Steve Letarte, has announced that this is his last year atop the pit box of the 88. And so I think a lot of people are going to be happy with my pick, who is Dale Earnhardt Jr. I think Jr. gets it done this weekend, gets his 2014 campaign started off on the right foot. I think he gets it done. So hopefully I'm right. Hopefully I don't look like too much of a fool on Monday. So we'll just have to see where it goes and enjoy the race, because I know it's going to be great. I think it's going to be a lot better than last year. We got 1 year of the Gen 6 cars under our belt, so I think everybody kind of came back to Daytona this year with a notebook with some notes in it actually, and everybody's a little bit better prepared. So I think that only can make for a better race this Sunday, and I think it's going to go really, really well. I think a lot of passing, a lot of action. So tune in on Sunday if you can. If not, I'll keep you posted on Full Throttle Weekly. Thanks.